Truly a sight to behold. The man beat the once great champ, now a study in moppishness. No longer the victory-hungry stallion we've raced so many times before, but a pathetic, washed-up, aged ex-champion.
All right, let's go.
I think you know the guy. And I think you know him pretty damn well. His name is
Izzy Presley.
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 What's my name? Say my name, bitch!
My good friend, Izzy Presley.
Izzy Presley.
Izzy Presley.
Izzy Presley. Ouch!
Izzy Presley. Whoa, that sounds a little weird.
Izzy Presley.
Izzy Presley.
Izzy Presley, the heaviest, girthiest rock DJ around.
Hey, this is Jeff Bauer. You listen to Izzy Presley. Those aren't pillows.
No, Jeff LeBar, those are not pillows. Those are my ass cheeks, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, world. Hello, Las Vegas. Hello, my loyal minions. It is good to see you and always good to be seen. And it's been a little while. Don Jameson was the last guest. I've been busy. And we are back, and we are back with a very, very special show. Now, before we get into this, you're wondering, Izzy, if you have people on the video, why are you wearing a Barry Foster Pittsburgh Steelers jersey? Well, this is why. The first person to donate to the show, $100. This is a show-worn jersey. The first person will get this jersey, and I will send it to you free of charge for shipping for that single $100. That's all you got to do. This is authentic. This is jersey cut. This is pads cut. This has got the 75th anniversary. This is the real deal, folks. $100 to either CashApp, $Izzy Presley, at Real Izzy Presley on the Venmo, or izzypresley@yahoo.com, or the PayPal. It's all yours. First person that does that. God, so much shit going on, but ladies and gentlemen, I know you're used to the regular, the rock and roll interviews. That's what this show is all about. But sometimes we have to bust into the fun, and sometimes we have to bust into the past. Hold on while I hit the intro music. Please welcome, from parts unknown but making his home in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, weighing in at 749 pounds, he is the fantasy football guru of another fucking podcast, the Great Bobboo Jeff Bauer.
Break it down!
Yeah, we are gonna break it down, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome back for the first time in, Bobber, how many years has it been?
I think it was about 2016 or 17.
Was it that long? Ladies and gentlemen, the fantasy football guru, which is no longer a fantasy football nerd anymore. You've retired. You used to have like 7 teams. That's why you were on the show. You were the guru. You were the master, my friend. And now you don't do it anymore.
So I'm down to I had 1 team this year.
Okay.
So, and I did well. I mean, it's the thing that is weird about football is it's so luck based, and anyone who says they're good at fantasy football, there's a certain point to that where you have probabilities and you watch the lineups. But I get people that have been in leagues never before and their wives join and they win, because if you get the first pick and you draft well,
yep,
your chances are you're gonna have a pretty good team.
Yep.
And it's gotten so different. Everybody plays it. Everybody's online. It really takes nothing to put a team together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the league I did this year, I did with my son, who was 16.
Jesus
and it's funny
Christ.
because I know it's crazy, but it's weird because how this has gone full circle. I told them, I said, I started doing this when I was in high school with a small group of people. And I had this Bible book where I went through this. It was Fantasy Football Digest,
Yep.
And, I remember Jerry Rice and Dalton Hilliard and all these guys were on the cover of it. But we really had to go through the paper it wasn't until the Monday USA Today where they actually had the good stats, because the St. Cloud Times was shit, like it is still.
Yeah. Well, and that, but
but
but there was a program and you had to go on
computer program. Yeah.
Yep, we had to go. This is pre-internet, because I remember I was in this league. Because I remember the Dalton Hilliard year.
Yeah.
And we would have to go on, and me, you, and Charles would sit around. And I asked Charles to come on with this long time friend of ours. He's a Lions fan, but I think he's just he's still reveling in the loss, probably. But what's up, Jeff? But yeah, we would sit around the computer. We had to put it all in manually because this was like like Windows. This was pre all that stuff.
Oh, we're talking a Tandy, bro. We're talking King's Quest, Police Quest computer, like dot matrix printers,
Leisure Suit
long
Larry.
time ago.
Oh, hold on, my friend.
Yeah.
Hold on, my friend. This is the first time that you've been on while I've done this. In the words of my close personal friend, Stone Cold Steve Austin, gotta crack one for the working man. Cheers.
Is that as good as cracking one for Vince McMahon or not?
Well, let's not get into that. That could be a whole nother hour and a half long conversation, but wow. So basically what we are doing, why is the Great Bobboo back? The first time on video, ladies and gentlemen, the very first time on video. This is you were way pre-video. You were like fucking OG. Another fucking
Did they even have video back then? I think it was VCRs back then.
Yeah, it was VCRs. We've been doing this a long fucking time, dude. I've been doing this a long time. So
look at how you've grown.
Yeah, my ab has grown.
So like the first episode that I was on with you, I think the whole reason was you were trying to find filler for a show and something to talk about, and you had just moved out to California. And if someone would tell you the people that you hang out with on a regular basis and that are your close personal friends now, if someone would have told you that when you left for California, you would have told them you're fucking high.
Yeah.
What's that? Oh, I'm gonna hang out with Danny Coker from fucking Counting Cars, and I'm gonna be hosting cruises, and you would have said you're crazy, And like I said, I'm proud of you, man. It's just we all have success at different rates, but you're doing what you want to do. A lot of people make outrageous amounts of money and hate their fucking jobs. They hate what they do. They hate waking up every day in the morning.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I still do, but it is what it is. Do you, let me ask you this. Do you have something you can lean your phone up against? Are you trying to hold it? Is that why it's shaking?
Is it shaking? Let me try this.
Yeah. Just, if you got something you
Hold
can lean it. Okay. We don't need a cock shot.
Here. Is that what it was?
Oh, now it is.
Well,
it is now.
Hold on a second.
This is like when when the old guy tries to take his selfie profile picture or his Tinder picture as just like straight up the nose. It wasn't like that before. It was shaking, and we don't need to give people ammo. So, but yeah, as he's fixing his computer, a lot of stuff coming up. Monsters of Rock Cruise is coming up. I am very excited about that, as I am every year. The Cruise to the Edge is coming up. That is the Prague Cruise. Always excited about that. My brother in arms, Mike Dawson, is joining for that one. And we just did the AVNs. We're going to get into the AVNs. We're going to talk about the AVNs. I mean, we could talk about football all night long, but we can talk about the AVNs and the amazing shit that happened at the AVNs. I got to wait for Bobboo to come back because, I mean, we used to do some stuff. There used to be this thing called porn stock. Yes, we were deranged children and young adults, and now we're deranged old men. So that is what it is. Also, while we're waiting, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hit that follow button. And I suppose you're wondering, this is another very important thing. Izzy, I thought you were going to go live again. I thought you were going to be on Podbean. Their live stream sucks. I looked at it and it didn't work for what I wanted. I canceled it, and I can't do live. Fuck it. We're just going to go old school, pre-recorded again. It sucks. I miss doing it live. I miss having the immediate reaction, but can't do it live. I'm sorry. Oh, there's the Great Bobboo.
Is that better?
It's half of your head's cut off, but can you lean it back?
How's that?
There you go. That's better. So before we get into this, were you aware what I did last weekend?
You were at the AVN Awards, weren't you?
I was just talking about porn stock. Remember we used to we get like 8 people over to my mom's house when she was gone and it was BYOP, bring your own porn. It was so like going to the AVNs. It was a pilgrimage. It was like beating the dragon in Super Mario Brothers and rescuing the girl. It was very cool. And this is the most this is the best part about the whole fucking thing. So we were at the actual award show. The category was best anal. And the gal that won during her acceptance speech, well, I would like to thank whoever the guy was for fucking my asshole. And I suppose I have to thank my asshole. It's like there's the greatest thing ever.
So why is that not on CBS and the Grammys is? Because I would watch that.
Oh, it's on Showtime. You can see it on Showtime.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Paramount Plus?
Paramount Plus. Yeah, there you go. You can hear me and Dawson screaming the whole time.
So how Dawson got you into that or what? How did you get tickets to that?
Okay, so here's what happened. Dawson was going to be in town opening up for Corolla, doing stand-up, and the AVNs were in town, and one of his good friends is the PR guy for the AVNs. So
how do you get that job?
I don't know. Very, very lucky. Very lucky. And so Dawson's like, all right, we can get some content for the Corolla show. So we went and did interviews the day before the awards, and it was the best thing. Because just looking for content for Corolla, just fun, different stuff. And here's the thing. You can't do old Stern shit. It's all been done. You have to come up with new material, right?
Yeah.
So what we did, or what Dawson did, this is brilliant, repurposed all the DeSantis, Nikki Haley debate questions. Yeah. So that's what he used as his questions for the porn stars.
Oh my God.
It was, but I tell you what, we actually got some great fucking answers. And then he let them promote whatever he had to promote. But dude, it was walking around the convention, seeing these real dolls. This is the weirdest thing. They can scan you and make you into a doll. So you can literally fuck yourself.
That is a disturbing thought.
So, but hold on. Okay, but let's get back to football. Here's something that's I think our listeners need to know. So you are no longer living in Sheboygan, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. But is it true that you turned to the dark side? That you are no longer a Vikings fan, you are now a Packer fan?
So I'm going to tell you a little secret, and you should know me better than this. I'm very much a contrarian.
Yes.
So when I live in Minnesota, I'm a Packers fan, and when I live in Wisconsin, I'm a Vikings fan. Just because it's fun to fuck with people.
Well, yeah, I get that.
But to be truly honest with you, my kid, because he was born in Wisconsin, has lived in Wisconsin his whole life, has turned into a Packers fan. So it's I always root for them if the Vikings are out of it, and which is usually every year. It's just frustrating as a Vikings fan.
I know
that like the Green Bay Packers shit out fucking franchise quarterbacks, and we can't, And when I say that, Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. All these Minnesota fans are like, we need to get rid of Cousins. We need to draft a rookie. Okay, so we're gonna suck for 6 fucking years, and Justin Jefferson's gonna go somewhere else, and and there's no guarantee that you draft a guy in the first round, he's going to be good anyways.
Right, exactly.
So the last time the Vikings had a pick this high in the draft and took a quarterback, you know who they took? He was also the 12th pick in the draft, Christian Ponder. You remember how that went?
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to forget.
But no, I mean, it's like I said, I more or less have fun with it, especially like people need to figure out social media a little bit. Like, people I always get a kick out of is like when you comment something and then people are constantly, I see this a lot in your posts, like you're literally making a fucking joke.
Yeah.
And then people will get all serious. Well, you forgot to spell the, or like, it's just like, and it's just like, really, like, let's take a breather here, people. Let's try to have some fun with things.
Yeah, no, dude, and that's what it's all about. I think anybody that follows my social media, they know it's all entertainment. Let's have fun. There's this meme that is just there's this big fat guy with these big buck teeth. It just says actually, and that's the joke. It's people that respond seriously to jokes. It's
Well,
like,
when
dude,
I first
chill
got
out,
on,
have fun.
when I first got on social media, like I used to be that guy, like, oh, they're wrong about this, and you try to correct everybody and whatever. And it's just like when someone posts something on their page on Facebook, for instance, that's their own personal thought and belief. It's like seeing a bumper sticker in a car. Has it ever changed your mind? I'm not going to change anyone's mind talking about sports, talking about politics, talking about anything. So have your own beliefs, but respect other people's beliefs that they're probably going to be different than yours. It doesn't mean you're right and they're wrong, or vice versa.
Oh, I just say respect the fact that I'm right because I am always right. I mean, that's just all there is to it. I mean, what can you say? So let's
You know what's funny when you talk about porn stock, and one of our old roommates, I won't mention his name here on camera, but I think you know who I'm talking about. Let's just say he liked Yarmir Yager a lot on a certain. Do you know that he's like head of Trout Wells in St. Cloud?
Good for him.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, he was like in the paper and everything like that. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Should we okay, I'm sure there's a lot of people wondering if if they saw my posts, they would know that I was not in favor of the Lions moving on to the Super Bowl and or winning the Super Bowl. Izzy, now why would you think? We were kind of talking about this before we went on the air. Here's my thought, and I want to get your thoughts on this too. Yes, we realize the Detroit Lions have been terrible for years and years and years. And I know you say, oh my God, they deserve it. No, they do not. Detroit has 11 Stanley Cups. They have 4 Major League Baseball titles, and they have 3 NBA championships. They've had their glory. You know what their punishment has been? The Detroit Lions. And now, you, Lions fan, yeah, you felt pain. You've been sucking for so long. Well, let me tell you this. You knew exactly what was going to happen every year, but there was no dangling of the fruit. Let me tell you about being a Vikings fan. You know that really hot girl? She talks to you. You think you might have a chance with her because she's flirting a little bit. You're flirting a little bit. And then at the end of the night, she rips your heart out of your ass. That is what it's like being a Vikings fan. You Lions fans, you know you're going to lose. We might know we're going to lose, but we think there's a chance. That's the difference, Bobber.
Well, and like we lose in such remarkable fashion, just to use your hot girl analogy, it's almost like you meet this hot girl and she likes you, you're into her. And I'm going to say this is like the 1998 NFC Championship game with Gary Anderson. Like, and this girl's just perfect. She's hot and everything. You take her back to your place. She's Indian and everything. And all of a sudden you pull down her pants and she's a tranny. That's what that's like. It's just like, and I still like seeing grown men crying that day, and it's just like it's always these fabulous things that happen. It's not just a loss; it's a loss so unbelievable that you could never. And then you see these teams, like the Kansas City Chiefs, they shit out fucking gold dust, like they can't, everything goes their way in these games, and it's, I think we're boarding on WWE quality fucking storylines here. If you look at all the playoff games, it was like an undercard of a main event of a WWE match. You had Detroit against the Rams,
yep.
Goff against Stafford, You had, the Cowboys and the Packers. It was McCarthy was the old Packers coach against now the Cowboys coach, and they get destroyed. And how was that for you? Like, you're watching the Cowboys fan base and the Packers fan base, probably two most irritating fan bases in history of pro sports.
I can't
fighting
argue
with each other.
There's that classic GIF or whatever however the kids call it these days of Al Bundy just sitting down on the couch, leaning back and sit back and laugh with his hand in his pants. That's basically what it was.
No, it's it's crazy, but it's just like we're now in the celebrity bowl season where it's like it's what celebrities are going to be here. What we have the Taylor Swift watch. The Taylor Swift thing it's kind of mind-boggling to me. I don't know Taylor Swift's music. I could if I heard a song on the radio from her, I couldn't tell you that's Taylor Swift. I got nothing against her personally. She's rich. She's obviously talented. I mean, you don't get to be that famous and sell that many albums if you're not talented. You might not like her music, but it's like I don't like Luke Combs, but I'm not going to sit here and say Luke Combs is not talented.
Right.
I'm not going to go to one of his concerts, but he's a very talented guy. It's the same with Taylor Swift. And she's not asking for all this media coverage. When she goes to these games, she's not asking, put the video camera on me and talk about me incessantly. This is an NFL deal. The NFL they came out with a report. They said they've made an additional revenue of $331 million from Taylor Swift.
I believe it.
So you think about that for a second.
I believe it. Dude, it's
and
it's so bad. On the weather report here a couple nights ago in Vegas, they were tracking the weather forecast for her flight from Japan.
Yeah, because she's on tour, right?
Yeah, she has a show in Japan, which is 14 hours ahead, I believe, or 14, something like that. And so she's going to be at the game as you would expect. It's but come on, tracking the weather. It's like they're tracking the weather for Santa Claus.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, come on, let's reach a point here. We get it. She's more famous than anybody that's famous right now. I don't think you can argue that. And that's why she's getting the camera time. And look, it works out. It's great for the NFL. I don't blame them for putting the camera on it. I don't blame them for the coverage because it's good for the league. Is it great for the fans? It's great for the fans to bitch about.
And like anything in life, there always has to be a villain.
Right.
Tom Brady went from how he was villainized and how people hated him. And I was one of those people, again, I just got sick of seeing him all the time, It's like he's got the supermodel wife, he's fucking good-looking guy, fucking wins all the time and stuff like that, But it's like they need that villain to pull it. It's like a movie, right? All these superhero movies that they come out with, they wouldn't be good movies if they didn't have a good villain, right? Same with Star Wars. There's no Star Wars without Darth Vader.
Actually, correct.
And so they need, and they've somehow turned into the villain and the hero in the same play, I've never seen a team in my life following the NFL where so many people liked Pat Mahomes and before the Chiefs went on their Super Bowl run and oh, he's great, we really like him. And now so many people hate him. And they hate the Chiefs, and they're sick of the Travis Kelce. And I was listening to, who Stavros Halkias is?
Nope.
He's a stand-up comedian. He's this Greek guy, big Baltimore Ravens fan, And he just went on this big diatribe. But now it was shtick. It wasn't like he really hates him, but he was talking about how much he hates Travis Kelce and his brother because they just started this New Heights podcast this year, and it's the number one podcast on iTunes, And he's like, I've been doing podcasts for 15 fucking years and I can't get people to listen. And he's like, these douchebags have the number one podcast now.
How can you not respect a man who jumps out of a fucking suite shirtless was it in Baltimore that it happened?
It was Buffalo.
It was in Buffalo, shirtless, slamming beers, picking up a girl who had a Taylor Swift sign and brought her up to me. How can you hate that? Plus, it was just hilarious. It was fucking hilarious. Dude, here, let me tell you about this Tom Brady thing, though, too. I was on the hate Tom Brady, hate Patriots, yada yada yada. Then I came to a realization that we are never going to see a run like that ever again. And then I started to respect it, and then I started to love it. And here, did you know this fact? Pat Mahomes, first, I think it was his first regular season loss, his first NFC Championship loss, and his first Super Bowl loss. You know who they were all against?
I would guess Brady. Yeah.
Tom Brady.
And the thing about Brady too, and what made me kind of change my mind about him is he went from kind of transitioning himself from a kind of like Brock Purdy is now with the Niners, a game manager with a good defense and a good coach, to the best player in his team. And then he went to another team as a free agent and won the Super Bowl the next year. I mean, you'll never see that, I don't think, ever again.
No, and I wanted him to get that last ring. Because like I said,
In
we're
Tampa?
never going to see this again. Especially, I mean, this isn't in the 70s. Yeah, shit like this could happen. But with free agency and the way the league is and salary caps now, we're never going to see a run like that ever again. Yes, I realize Mahomes has never not been to an AFC championship game. I think he's been to every single one since he's been in the league. He hasn't won every one.
Yeah.
He's not gonna assemble the hardware that Tom Brady has.
They lost. He's been to the AFC Championship every year. They lost that 1 year to the Bengals.
Yeah.
When the Bengals played the Rams. But it's just like the Chiefs went from and I like Travis Kelce. I think he's a great tight end. But it's to the point now where it's just like I get sick of watching them on television because I've noticed a few things. And I noticed it from the first game that they played Detroit this year. If you watch the Super Bowl, and you'll notice this, their tackles false start on every play. So you can't move before the ball is snapped. Their tackles are on both sides are moving, and they're not calling it. And they're calling it on other teams. And, it's just a lot of, I noticed a lot of things, and it's just I was joking with a friend of mine, and I'm like, there's going to be a pass interference call in the fourth quarter of this game. If it's close, that's going to go the Chiefs' way. And that's exactly what happened. And, I'll tell you this right now. The NFL wanted the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Oh, I think so. I mean, look, there was I don't know if you saw this reel, but it was a former mob guy, and it was just short. And he was talking about collecting money on sports bets. And one of the things he taught, I don't know if this is real or not, because you don't know what fucking mob guys look like. You don't know if it's true or not. But he was talking about collecting money, and one of the ways that they would collect money is by getting maybe somebody to throw 3 picks in a row. And then they showed the clip against the fucking Packers, 3 picks in a row. Just it's shit like that. I don't know. I'm not saying that's NFL based or if it's real or not. Obviously, there are ways they could do. I think the NFL secretly did want the Chiefs there because of the publicity. I mean, even though look, the Super Bowl is one of the biggest TV events of the year, no matter all across the board. It's going to be even fucking huger now. Did they pull an NBA and kind of make shit happen? I don't know.
I watch the NFL now, and refereeing, officiating has always been shit in the NFL ever since I was a kid.
Well, that's because we're Vikings.
But there's always
Vikings.
And there's always going to be mistakes happening and plays not called and stuff like that, but for instance, in the Ravens Chiefs game, they had a defensive pass interference call against the Chiefs or against the Ravens in the fourth quarter that they essentially they called, and it was the same play that they didn't call in the Super Bowl where the Chiefs played the Bengals, not the Bengals, but the Eagles last year, which got Mahomes to go down and score the winning touchdown. So it was virtually the exact same play.
Okay.
And it was called in one game and it wasn't called in the other. So I'm a firm believer that it's scary how much FanDuel and DraftKings what stake that they have in the NFL. Like everything is about, you live in Vegas for God's sakes. Everything is about lines and, and the Super Bowl's in Vegas. I mean, you think about that, that's kind of crazy to think about when we were kids that there would be a franchise in Las Vegas when gambling wasn't legal on pro sports other than if you were in Las Vegas.
Right.
And now the Super Bowl's there. I mean, how much money do you think is going to be gambled on the Super Bowl in the billions?
It's going to be insanity.
Yeah, and just prop bets, What's
Yeah.
Taylor Swift going to be wearing? Is like, what's Swedish? Is she going to be the left or right of Travis Kelce's mom? It's just like all kinds of dumb shit, And it's crazy because football is probably the easiest sport to bet on. I think that's also why it's the most popular.
Right.
It's one game a week. It's easy. You do point spreads or you do, points. And then you got the fantasy football stuff now, which, has blown up. But I also think it's like, for me personally, it's gotten to be too much.
Oh, I agree. I agree, dude. I agree. It's like when you have legal betting companies advertising for the sports during the games, I don't like it. I don't like it. It's too much.
Well, you're starting to see like that. You heard about that receiver from LSU that got busted? That Lucien Bousset or whatever his name is. Basically, he was betting on LSU games while he was playing in them. And they showed drop passes and stuff like that where he actually bet against his team. Like, that's the one thing about Pete Rose is Pete Rose came forward and said, I was betting on the Cincinnati Reds.
Right.
Which, as shitty as you want to say a manager betting on his team is, he was betting on his team. He wasn't like choking and throwing in a bad pitcher.
He was being a manager. He was trying to win the game, and he was betting on the game. I mean, fuck it.
I always think Pete Rose was just a degenerate gambler. You know who else was a degenerate gambler? It was Michael Jordan.
Oh, yeah. He was brutal.
You tell me he wasn't betting on Bulls games back in the day?
Yeah, fuck that. He was.
I mean, I'm a firm believer that, and this is just Jeff Bauer's conspiracy theory. I have no proof of this, but he went to the White Sox to play baseball and like quit basketball for that entire reason. I think he got caught doing something he wasn't supposed to do. David Stern said, you got to get away for a few years because it was weird. And then his dad gets murdered, like in the side of the road by some mob guy. It was just strange.
Wow.
Like, it's weird.
That's an interesting conspiracy theory.
I mean, it's like, cause he would go to Vegas and he would bet like $1 million, no problem,
Oh yeah. And he was one of those whales they would bring in.
And he was very competitive. He didn't like to lose. He didn't like to lose at anything, and that's what made him such a great basketball player. But, and that's part of the problem that I have with everything now. We live in this society. I don't want to use the term woke because I think people use that way too openly, but like nothing is sacred anymore. And what I mean by that is like, there are things that need to be kept private and there are things that we should never really know about, like, it's just, you hear something about certain people, what's going on with the WWE and stuff like that. Like these stories are horrible, but they're also, they haven't gone through a court of law yet. And so a lot of these people are being judged, by what they're seeing in these court documents. Well, they haven't gone to court yet. Right. These are just depositions, so it's like, and all of a sudden these people are getting dragged through the mud. They're losing contracts. They're losing millions of dollars. And like, I mean, we need to kind of slow down a little bit, because it's just like, and it seems like everything that was good when I grew up is now bad.
Yeah.
And that's kind of scary to me.
No, I get it. I mean, I get it. I get it. It's yeah. Well, it's in the eye of the public, and I'm not saying any other way about McMahon, yada, 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 but in the eye of the public, it is now guilty until proven innocent.
Oh, totally.
You know what I mean? And that, I think social media, the way news is now, that's the way it is. And like, again, I'm not saying anything about McMahon because what I've heard, what I know from what I've heard, and this is all from podcasts, but by wrestlers and people who've worked for him in WWE, WWF, yada, yada, yada. Wow. But yeah, it's
Jim Cornette talked briefly about it, and he said this had to have happened all like within the last 5 or 10 years.
Yeah.
because he didn't. This is not a Vince McMahon that he knew. That he goes, I was around Vince McMahon almost 24/7 when I was there.
Yeah. Yep.
He wasn't doing any of this shit with me.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's you feel bad, and it's just like I even I still will catch wrestling from time to time because it's like nostalgia for me, right?
Right.
And it's more nostalgic, like I mean, when you see like Ric Flair and you got to meet Ric Flair, that's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, I did.
And but like it's so nostalgic to see all these people, and like it's just like I mean it just seems like everything is so tainted now. It's just like I talk to my kid, and like he's a junior in high school, and some of the shit he tells me about like people doing different things and at school, and like how this person does that, and like I mean girls identifying as furries, and they bring their stuffed animal. Yeah, it's a thing. I know.
Dude, when we walked at the AVNs, not to go back to the porn, but it's me. Like by the media area, that's where they had all like the toys and all that part,
Yeah.
But when you walk through the whole thing where it's just rows of girls taking pictures of people, and there's the guy section too. We walked away from that, but there was like a whole row of girls on cam. I mean, they weren't doing it, they weren't naked, or they were just on cam talking to people, yada yada yada. There was a whole row of girls with Spock ears. That's a thing.
So
it was
like
creepy.
How many of these women did you pick up on? I mean, just going off of theories of like probability, you could out of 100, one or two.
I didn't hit on anybody, but let's just say there was a lot of daddy issues in that room. But the funniest thing was Dawson was walking around going so we were at the pre-party with all the porn stars before the awards, right? And Dawson's just counting 1, 2, 3, 4. He ended up getting up to 33 girls that he knew that he jerked off to. And the 33rd was in line behind us. And he turned around, he saw her, he looked at me, he goes, 33. I'm like, oh, okay. Then he started talking to her and told her, I've been counting all the women that I've jerked off to. I've wasted a lot of jism on you. You were the 33rd gal. And then he started talking to her husband, who was really cool. And she laughed. It was funny, but yeah, it was a thing.
And you know what's crazy about like porn when we were teenagers and in college and even up until recently, it was so distant.
Yeah.
Like okay, you saw porn like Christy Cannon or Ron Jeremy or whoever, and it's like they were almost stars in a sense, right?
Well, yeah, that was like the era of the real porn star.
And now the real porn stars, they could be running goddamn OnlyFans sites, or the girl that you see getting donuts in the morning from the girl you walk by at the grocery store could be running an OnlyFans site. I know a girl from the gym that did that and made 6 figures, and she's not even that attractive, and that's scary to me.
Yeah, you know why?
That lonely society.
Bobber. Oh, Great Bobboo. You know why? Because men are degenerates. That is why.
We are, but it's so funny. It's just like I never and praise OnlyFans. I mean, you got a guy who came up with a site who said, "Okay, we got an idea here," But it's just like, man, it's just like, and it's like I always see these funny TikTok videos, like where they're like, there's some behemoth of a woman, and like there's a guy talking to her and saying, "How would you rate yourself?" From between a 1 and a 10, and they're like an 8.5. And they're just laughing. Like the comments, I could read the comments for like days.
Well,
but there's a lot of.
Well, look, here's the deal, and Corolla talks about this all the time. This is why fat shaming was a good thing. Not like making somebody feel bad and going too far, but look, if somebody's fat, they're fucking fat,
Yep.
And hearing that, even though they already know that, maybe motivate them to get healthy. You know what I'm saying? Because now it's like everybody's attractive in their own way and blah, blah, blah. You're creating a very unhealthy society.
Oh, yeah.
Mentally and physically.
And, it's like, that's why, like, I was, overweight for a large part of my life. And like, nobody will tell you. It's like, it's one of those things where and we have very few, like things that we can, and this is sad to me. And you're in the comedy field, you're friends with people that are stand-up comedians. Like, I'm a big stand-up comedian fan. I've always been a fan, and it's getting to the point where stand-up comedy, in a way, is the last bastion of free speech.
Oh, it's true.
Where you can go out and say what you want to say without repercussions and stuff like that,
Well, but here's
and
the
that's
thing.
even getting bad.
But here's the thing, dude. And this is why I love Adam Carolla. You know how you make it go away? You don't apologize. They come at you, you tell them to fuck off. They don't know what to do and they go away. That's all you got to fucking do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And unfortunately, like a lot of people, good people, have, I mean, I think about like take Andrew Dice Clay, for instance, right? And like any stand-up comedian will tell you that was alive during that time when Andrew Dice Clay was big. No comedian has ever been that big and has never been that big since. Nope. Just in terms of raw power in their comedy, there's, Bill Burr's famous, Louis C.K., guys like that, but they didn't have that type of power.
No.
And like, Joe Rogan in a sense does, because he has all these podcast subscribers, but he's a stand-up comedian, but he's not a comedian like Dice was selling out Madison Square Garden in the freaking 80s.
You know what the difference was with Dice? When you think of a stand-up comedian, you think most of the stand-ups, what do? It's self-deprecating. Self-deprecating humor. You know what Dice was? He was brash. He was, I'm God. He was, I am the fucking man. Fuck with Dice. Dice does the fucking, you know what I'm saying? That was Andrew Dice Clay. And that's what they told him. It was like, dude, this isn't going to work. You're not making fun of yourself. It's like, that's not me. And that's what he did. And that's why it's one of the reasons it stood out from everything else, because it was different. Yes, it was over the top and it was godly. but it's funny. It's like, I tell people this story, and like, as a kid, we would get together, usually at your house, and we would listen to like Eddie Murphy comedian on tapes, or we'd listen to some dirty stand-up comedian. And that really doesn't exist anymore in the pantheon of stuff, because nothing's really dirty anymore, right? Everything is it's out there, right? There's no, and like going in and watching that special on HBO, which catapulted Dice, the one that Bill Hicks was on, and there were some other people that were on that. Very Sobel.
Famous people. Yep. Very good comedians, Yep.
And actually, was Hicks on that one? Yes, Hicks was on it, because Sam was on the year before.
Yep. And it was pretty it was pretty amazing to see not only that lineup, but to see someone come out there. And this was back, now you can go on YouTube. A lot of these comedians get famous on YouTube just because they can do YouTube comedy specials. They get enough subscribers, people listen, boom, they're famous. Well, back then you had to get on HBO or you had to get on the Tonight Show. That was really the only two avenues you could as a comedian if you wanted to get big. And he did, and he went on that special and just slayed, and it was just a short set.
Yeah. Have you heard his interview on Rogan?
I saw him when he was on Rogan. Was it like a year ago, maybe?
Yeah, about a year ago. If nobody's listening, go back and watch that, because it is just fucking gold. But he talks about, he was on a TV show at that time, and he told them they're getting rid of him. And even though the show was doing well and he was testing well, yada yada yada. And I'm paraphrasing this, so all the facts might not be exactly straight. We got to do the dice, if we're going to talk about it. Anyways, but he talked about how look, I'm going to be on this Rodney thing on HBO. You just watch. I'm going to be the biggest fucking star in the country. I'm going to be the biggest fucking star in the world. Like, yeah, okay, that's cute, whatever. And they got rid of him. What happened? He went on the Rodney thing. Next thing, he's on fucking billboards everywhere. He's the biggest fucking star in the world. They shit the bed. You know, I can't remember the name of the show. It escapes me right now, but it's true. It's absolutely fucking true. That happened.
Yeah. And that was a brilliant time. I tell people this, like, do you get Showtime? They have a show on there that talks about the history of the Comedy Store.
Uh-huh.
It's a documentary. It's like 4 parts. It's just amazing. And they have old videos of Dice and Sam Kinison, like walking into the Comedy Store at their height, like when they were super popular, just going on after the headliner and like playing for like an hour or 2 hours, you know, because
oh yeah,
what people don't realize is like they weren't sitting in Hollywood in these big mansions while they were doing this. They were playing gigs almost every night, honing their comedy, you know. But yeah,
no,
it's
absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so let's we can talk about all this different shit. We can go to all these roads all night long because that's what we do when we're together. But we need to wrap this around.
Talk about this exciting Super Bowl.
Yeah, Taylor Swift. Yeah, we go from we go from God to Taylor Swift.
The Swift Bowl.
So what are your thoughts? I mean, what are your thoughts going into this? I mean, do you think the Chiefs are going to roll? Do you think it's going to be a tight game? Do you think San Fran has a chance, which I do? I mean, it's 2 great teams.
Yeah, I mean, I think San Fran wins this game. I think you're going to see a very lightly called game in this one. I don't think you're going to see a lot of penalties. I think the referees are going to let them play for the most part, which helps the 49ers out a lot because the 49ers are more of a finesse team. They're more physical. They have 2 really, really good linebackers in Drake Kinlaw and Fred Warner, who are going to create issues for the Chiefs in the middle. The Chiefs don't really have anybody outside of Kelsey, and the 49ers have a guy in Fred Warner that can cover Kelsey basically one-on-one, which probably will be most of his game that whole day. I think you're going to see a lot of like I was surprised in the Chiefs game. Kelsey, whenever he caught a pass, he was really taunting a lot. And really like, hey, you know, like almost getting cocky, almost trying to play up a persona of something. And I got a feeling if he's doing that in this game, this time, he's going to start getting flagged for it. Why they weren't throwing the flags in Baltimore on that, I don't know. A taunting penalty is a taunting penalty. Like I said, if you call it on one guy, you got to call it on other people.
I agree. But hold on. Wasn't Travis Kelce the guy that when he scored the touchdown a couple of years ago, he did the Stone Cold Stunner?
I don't know if that was him or not. It could have been. I think this is just my personal opinion. I just think Travis Kelce is a cheap ripoff of Jared Allen.
Oh, interesting.
It's almost like they have the same persona. He's just not walking around with a cowboy hat. They both started their careers at the Chiefs, and like they kind of have that, you know, like I don't know. It's just like I have a feeling that this is going to be one of those. The 49ers are a very physical team, and this is going to be one of those getting punched in the mouth type of games. And the Chiefs, I mean, I watched them play all year this year, and not one game of theirs was. I mean, they barely beat the Vikings. Okay, like you know what's funny is they barely beat the Vikings, and the Vikings beat the 49ers.
Right. And that was before, and that was obviously the 49ers game, but
before Cousins got hurt. Yeah,
before Cousins got hurt. Yeah.
Yep. And you know, I tell a lot of Vikings fans like this. I said the Vikings were very competitive this year before Cousins went down.
Yeah.
Green Bay doesn't.
Hold on. It was Eric Fisher.
Eric Fisher
celebrates Blake Bell's touchdown with the Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm watching the video right now. No, I am not going to. But I thought Kelsey did it too.
He maybe did.
Because this isn't the. Come on, let's see. And I'm not. Look, I can't. Okay, where it just keeps showing the fucking. Okay, he's doing the Lambo leap. No. Oh, drinking beer? No, that's not. Anyways, I'm sorry. Oh, hold on. No, that's not it either. All right, I'm sorry. So I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was just, like I was just saying how in this game, the 49ers aren't a great matchup for the Chiefs. I would be surprised if the Chiefs won this game. Barring Brock Purdy comes out and looks like a turd, like he has in a few games this year when it's the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
A
What are
lot
your
of these
thoughts?
guys
What are
get
your
nervous.
thoughts on Purdy? I like him. I love the story. Obviously, Mr. Irrelevant. That's a huge story right there, because those guys usually don't even make the team. But but obviously he got the gig because of injury, and he rolled with it. And he's not a flashy quarterback. I think he's a solid quarterback.
So like I hate to use the word game manager because every quarterback's a game manager. That's their job. Is to manage the game. They're the leader of the team, But I like Brock Purdy. I think he doesn't have a strong arm. Neither did Brady. He didn't have an arm like Dan Marino or John Elway or any guys like that, or even Josh Allen or Aaron Rodgers. But he's very accurate. He's good at finding the open receiver. I always get a kick out of when people say, well, of course Brock Purdy's going to be good. He's got Deebo Samuel, he's got Brandon Ayuk, he's got Christian McCaffrey, he's got a great defense, he's got a great offensive line. He should be good. But I always find that to be kind of a bad argument, because do you think Joe Montana played with shitty players? I mean, he had Jerry Rice and Roger Craig.
Right.
Every great quarterback had, even Tom Brady had Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez and Wes Welker and Randy Moss.
Yeah, Randy Moss, yeah.
And not for long periods of time, but like every team has had good. It ultimately the quarterback has to pull the trigger. They're the ones who have to get them down the field, And the Dallas Cowboys are a very talented team, but for whatever reason, Dak Prescott can never get them over. And Purdy has played well, and I don't think he's going to be the reason they don't win this game. Kansas City has a very, very good defense. That's the thing people don't talk about when they say Kansas City. It's Travis Kelce and Pat Mahomes. Chris Jones is their defensive tackle. He's an excellent football player, and he's going to be all over the place on Sunday. But their defense is very, very much improved. Very different than the Chiefs team that played the Buccaneers when Brady won a Super Bowl and destroyed them. They're almost a defensive team now. They don't have Tyreek Hill. They don't really have much of a running game. They got Jerick McKinnon, who used to play for the Vikings.
Yep.
And like I said, it's one of those things where it's just like, if I were a betting man in Vegas, I would put my money on the 49ers. I believe in them. I feel like that Detroit game was their bad game, their bad playoff game. They were getting run over in the first half. That's not going to happen again.
All right, hold on. I'm just going to check this. Chiefs, 49ers spread. Let's see what the spread is right now.
So the Niners have to be favored.
All right. So what is the Super Bowl? Jeez, goddamn pop-up ads. Eat my ass. And for the record, it was Travis Kelce that did the Stone Cold Stunner. Can you just put, okay, so the Niners are minus 2.5. The money line is 49ers minus 130, Chiefs plus 110. Over under is 47.5 points. Of course, it does not give the most important over under, which I think is the money bet. The prop bet of the Super Bowl is over under for times that Tay ends up on TV. That over under, and I'm going to be putting money on this. The over under is 2.5. And I think it's going to be probably 15 times at least that she ends up on TV. So that's easy money.
And my whole thing on that is like 2.5. That's such a low bet. Like they're going to have 2.5 at the first fucking quarter. The first time Travis Kelce catches a pass, it's going to be on her,
Yeah. Oh, unless she doesn't make it.
Well, I suppose, yeah.
Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why it's at 2.5. If she does not,
Or she
make
gets there
it.
late or something.
If she gets there late, but it'll be cameras will be fucking on her the whole game if she gets there late, and they still have to show the plays. Show the play, Tay. Play, Tay. Play, Tay.
But it's so weird. Like it's like she seems like a decent person.
Dude,
like when she played at U.S. Bank, they had all these stories about like they ordered Broadway pizza.
Yeah.
And I guess she gave them a check for, well, not a check, but she gave them, when they did the credit card payment, she gave them like $100,000.
Dude, well, look what she gave her crew. Gave everybody $1 million.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, fuck, dude. It's whatever. It doesn't matter. Let's talk about the game. Actually, here, let's not. Okay, so you think the Niners are going to pull it out? I think the Niners are going to pull it out. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm not going to watch it. I'll probably be working, reaping the benefits off of it away from the stadium. You know, bringing everybody their chips and their salsa, and their steaks and their tofu.
That's right. It's going to be a clusterfuck for you driving around, this weekend, huh?
Well, especially when you live basically right across the freeway from the stadium. Yeah, it can get a little tough. Let me ask you this. Let's bring it back to the Vikings. Say for instance, the Vikings do not resign, are not able to resign Kirk Cousins. Do you see Justin Jefferson on the Chiefs next year?
No. They don't have enough salary cap room.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because Kelsey makes almost $30 million. Mahomes is the highest paid quarterback. They have a lot of their linemen, like their guards, are really good, and they make a lot of money. So people come up with these offseason trades, and the only trade that I found to be a legitimate trade, if I were the Vikings, that I would. So I'm a firm believer that they drafted Jordan Addison this year because they did not want to pay Justin Jefferson $175 million. They wanted somebody that they're going to be able to bring in here. I think ultimately they're going to re-sign Cousins for 2 more years, but they're going to draft. I believe that they think that there's a quarterback in this draft that's the future of the Minnesota Vikings. But I also believe that they're going to have to draft up and trade up to get him. I don't think it's going to be Caleb Williams. Although that's the guy they really like. You know, it's going to take a lot of draft capital to move up to get Caleb Williams. But I ultimately think that the Bears are going to keep Justin Fields as their quarterback.
I think
and they're going to. It's so hard to tell because he's never had a good line. He's had a different coach every year. You know, they run a really weird scheme there.
Right, but I'm just talking look at the accuracy. I mean, that's the thing, is the accuracy. And you look, and we saw it with Dante Culpepper. You can only be a running quarterback for so long.
Yeah. But I look at a team like Baltimore, Lamar's never won the big game for them, but he's going to win probably a second MVP trophy since he's been in the league. And that team is set up for him. Their running style of team, it's short passes, it's quick passes. It's like you have to play to your team's strengths, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's the strength of that team, you know. I've told people all along the Bears are going to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. With the first pick. They're going to keep Justin Fields. They're going to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. So this is what I would propose to the Chicago Bears. Why do you want to take a risk on Marvin Harrison Jr. as the number 1 overall pick? Because he might not be great. I'm sure he will be. His dad was a stud. He looks to be. Why not get the quarterback you want? Caleb Williams actually wants to play in Minnesota. He said that's one of the 5 teams he wants to play for. Why don't you trade Jefferson for that pick? You get a wide receiver that's going to be already set in stone. You got Addison. The Vikings got Addison. You get Cousins. You get this quarterback on a rookie contract. You can pay Cousins his money. You don't have to worry about salary cap implications. Because if Cousins is gone, I don't think Jefferson resigns. I don't think he's going to come on to a rookie quarterback.
I agree.
So sometimes you got to bite the bullet on something because I don't know too many wide receivers who won Super Bowls for teams.
Right.
In fact, I can't think of any.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think this is the reason they didn't re-sign him before last season or before this season?
So I think Well, I think Kwesi is a fan of mobile quarterbacks and guys who can, because that's the way the NFL is going now. It's all mobile.
I know.
You
I
watch
hate
Mahomes
it.
play.
I fucking hate it.
Most of his plays aren't. He's not a running quarterback per se, but he's mobile. Like he can get out of the pocket. He can make stuff happen. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. What Cousins used to be mobile, like when he played in Washington, but he's just taking a lot of hits.
Yep.
You know, and guys don't like to take hits after a certain amount of time. Look at Brady. You know, and but I like Kirk Cousins. I mean, it's like you can do a lot worse than Kirk Cousins at quarterback. The Vikings have glaring needs elsewhere, on defense especially. And I tell you, I mean, their defensive coordinator, Brian Flores, who did a phenomenal job with the Vikings this year.
Yep. Well,
A lot of blitzing.
Here's the thing you have to remember. They are not going to do a full-blown reload. You know, they're not going to tank and fucking rebuild. Because they're so worried about putting butts in the seats and keeping the interest, which is another painful part about being a Vikings fan, because, you know, it's the how do I want to say it? It's like, what do they call it? The paper rebuild, where they kind of tease you that, yeah, we're rebuilding, but we're still trying to win at the same time, or whatever the fuck they call it. So they're not gonna get rid of everybody and completely rebuild. That's why I think Cousins, they're gonna keep Cousins, and I could see him trading Jefferson. I really could, you know, and loading up on picks.
I mean, and my whole thing is like, so let's look at the Packers, right? Everybody envies their quarterback situation that they've had for the last 30 years, right? You actually look at it, it's not as complex as you think it is. Brett Favre was a second-round pick from Southern Mississippi. He was not a top first-round pick.
Right.
People seem to think that he was some high first-round pick.
No,
he was actually drafted by the Atlanta Falcons. He was not drafted by the Green Bay Packers. They traded for him because they liked him. Aaron Rodgers was a low first-round pick. He dropped in the draft because he got bad scores because coaches said he was cocky and he was arrogant. Well, we're kind of seeing that Aaron is a little bit on the arrogant side.
And the Vikings passed on him. They could have had him.
But, you know, on a side note about Aaron Rodgers, I think Aaron Rodgers is fucking hilarious. Like, he totally is trolling people. Like, the whole Jimmy Kimmel thing, you know, I don't get, and I like Jimmy Kimmel, don't get me wrong, take his politics and his beliefs out of it. Jimmy Kimmel's a good guy. You probably have heard stories about Jimmy Kimmel from knowing Adam Carolla, and those two are tight, but couldn't be any more different on how they think, right? But Jimmy's a nice guy. I don't think Jimmy is mean-spirited. I don't think, you know, and he really took offense to that. And we know Jimmy Kimmel wasn't on fucking Epstein's island.
Of course.
we know that. But, like, why he got so butthurt out of that. And the whole reason Rodgers did it is because Kimmel's been skewering him for the last 2 or 3 years because of his COVID shit.
Right.
And he found it an opportunity to kind of rib him back. But and you look at Jordan Love, he was a late first round pick. So this idea that we have to have the number 1 overall pick and we have to have this, the Vikings have to have a guy that they like. And I think there's like 3 guys in this draft that they really like. And, you know, I don't trust Kwesi. I don't think he's a great GM. I really don't. He's an analytical guy.
Yep.
I don't like these analytical guys. This isn't fucking baseball. You know, this is a team.
Oh, I hated it. I hated it in baseball too.
But even baseball, though, you can, like, you know, even like Billy Beane was a genius when he figured out, when he started thinking, and it's simple stuff. It's like,
yeah, but
why
hold
do we
on.
overvalue?
How many world titles did they win under that?
Well, with Billy Beane, like, you know, I truly believe that, like, if he would have had like actually money to use, like where he wanted to get the players he wanted to get, but he couldn't, you know, and like he had to go off these metrics. That's the only way he could build a successful team, right? He had to change it. It's like you look at the Twins back in the day when you used to go on Wednesdays and for Dome Dog nights or whatever, you know.
Yeah, dollar dogs, baby.
Ron Coomer was probably their best player. Those teams, you know, and like you have to, like, when you have a franchise that's not willing to spend money, you know, it's just like in baseball, it pisses me off because I look at like the Twins. The Twins had a good team last year, right? So they don't sign their best pitcher that they had last year, Sonny Gray, and he goes somewhere else for like $48 million. The Pohlads are one of the richest families in baseball. I don't care where people get this idea they're these Midwestern guys. They got more money than half these people. And the Dodgers are spending goddamn $400 million on Japanese dudes we've never heard of. I mean, we've heard of Otani, but that other guy they got. You know, it's like, how is this even close to being a fair playing field? You know, how are you, if you're the Twins, like, you know, it's just like, it's frustrating because baseball's gotten almost worse. Like when we used to bitch about the Yankees weren't doing this. The Yankees get very few free agents anymore.
Right. Well, but here's the other thing, though. How many fucking titles have the Dodgers won in the last how many years? Oh, we got screwed. They were cheating. They were cheating on us. Hey, you know what, brother? Jesse the Body Ventura said it best. Win if you can, lose if you must, McMahon. But always cheat.
But there's a thing to it. How are the Houston Astros? Obviously, well, maybe they were stealing signs. I think a lot of people do, but they're good every fucking year.
Yeah.
You're telling me they're cheating every year?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they have some really good baseball players.
They're a great fucking team. Yes, they cheated. Get over it. But they it's such I know a lot of people lose their shit about it, but this is my thing. They figured it out. They figured it out. They figured out a way to do it. Yeah, they fucking did it. They did it. And they won. But it wasn't paying somebody off. They figured out the signs. They figured out the signs and found a way to relay them. You look, I don't care. You can know what is coming all you want. You still have to hit the fucking ball. And hitting a round ball with a round bat is not the easiest thing to do in the world. I don't care if you're a professional or not. Still got to hit the ball, still got to catch the ball, still got to get the outs. You know, it's that.
Have you ever seen that Nolan Ryan documentary on Amazon?
I watched the first 3/4 of it on my last flight.
That to me is like, so we grew up in the Nolan Ryan era, right? Like in the 80s was like his heyday for the Astros and stuff, you know, and the Angels. His numbers as a pitcher, and he never won a Cy Young award, which is mind-boggling to me.
I know.
It are unreal.
He should have look. He should have won a Cy Young award just for beating the fuck out of Robin Ventura. I mean, that dude, that's Cy Young worthy right there.
And he was what, 45 when he did that?
Yeah.
Like Robin Ventura was like, he threw a no-hitter at 43 years old.
I know. It's fucking insanity. Bobber, I gotta wrap this shit up, dude. Because we could keep going on and on and on. But Babu, you will return. There will be return dates. Ladies and hold on, let me hit the outro music right here. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm thank you. Jeff Bauer, the Great Bobboo. Great to see you as always. Great to talk as always. And welcome back to the show, dude. It's been way too long. Like I said, had to go old school. Why not? Why not, brother?
Old school's the only way to go.
Absolutely. We will be back next week. And like I said, we're not live anymore, which sucks, but it is what it is. Hopefully somebody donated to get this beautiful Barry Foster jersey. Barry Foster, baby. Barry Foster.
So I think you should.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think not to interrupt you, but I think you should take the B Foster. Does it say B Foster in the back of the jersey?
No.
Just Foster?
Just Foster.
So why don't you just charge this guy an extra $50 to do this? Just take the Foster off and put a D-U-E-R-R on there and just sell it to Big Bad Brad for $150.
I tried.
Because who else wants a shitty Steelers jersey besides Brad?
He's got a clan. He has a clan. Make sure you guys hit up on the social medias at Real Izzy Presley all across the board, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. On behalf of the Great Bobboo, my name is Izzy Presley. And don't forget, what I lack in talent, I make up for in the cock.